All right, today I am going to walk you through the first step when thinking about your workout week. This is what matters most as far as staying consistent, and it is what I address for myself, for my clients, for anybody that I am trying to help get on a consistent pattern. Because as you may know, and as I know through just a ton of experience doing this, is that you will not make any progress no matter how good you put a session on paper, no matter how optimal a program looks to you on the computer, if you're not actually training consistently, right? If you have a plan and the sessions are being skipped and skipped and skipped and things end up looking way different than you intended, results are gonna be hard to come by. And the main result, right, the number one result that I look for with training, with exercise as a practice, is how you actually feel in your life day to day, right? Not just in the gym, but outside of the gym. When you're working on your job, on your business, when you're spending time with your family, with your spouse, with whatever you want to do, when you're traveling, when you're on cool vacations, that is the feeling that I am optimizing for. That is the ROI, the return that I'm looking for from my exercise. So if sessions are being skipped, if things are going really long between sessions and you don't have a proper plan that actually fits your lifestyle and you're not making it work, even if you get some physical, noticeable results, you are certainly not going to feel your best throughout those moments of life. Life is made up of just a lot of moments because you're not using your body. When you use your body the right way, when you train in the way that I show you how to do, it's not just the physical, tangible results. Those are a huge bonus, and those are things that give us targets, but it is how you actually feel. Like when I stand here, how my energy feels, how my muscles feel. Do they feel pumped? Do they feel strong? Do I feel like just a weapon? Do I feel amazing? Do I feel vibrant when I'm living and talking with people? Or do I feel tight? Do I feel slow? Do I feel lethargic? Do I feel soft? Do I feel weak, right? That's what we want first. So we want a consistent plan so that we're actually using our body consistently and feeling great consistently. And then we go from there. So, whiteboard. Step one, the first thing, Monday through Sunday, that is our life, right? We have a 7-day week. That is what essentially the whole world goes by as far as how we work and how we live week to week to week. And I like to look at that first from a high level, from a bird's eye view. We're looking at those 7 days and seeing what we can commit to. So if you say, hey, I want to train 5 days a week, but you really are actually going to end up training twice a week, don't say 5 days a week, because that's just going to throw off everything. Make it 2 days a week. Plan for even less than you think if you have trouble with consistency, and just prove that you can do that for 1 week, for 2 weeks, and then you can scale it up as needed. But regardless, right, we have, I'm just going to do this. So between each of these lines are another day, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we have, let's do this. All right, we have 7 days. Each box is a day. That's our week. Depending on the number of days that you're going to train on a given week, the way the session is configured is going to look a little different. Okay? Another side point that's really important, right? Personally, this is what I do for myself and my clients. Yes, right? We generally want to have a similar structure each week for a long extended period of time that we can stay consistent with it. We don't want something that is constantly changing. 1 week we train twice, the next week 3 times, the next week 4 times. The days move around. It's a little bit messy. We like something where you're, doing 2 or 3 or 4, whatever the hard sessions are each week, and that's your pattern. But things come up, things change. I like to plan for the inevitable and be adaptable. So the lesson I want for you, not that this is our norm, but it is very important, is if a week comes and things shift, because they will, right? Let's say you're planning 3 days a week and you're very good at that, but this week you just know 2 days is all that's going to happen. Fine, that's okay. It is what it is. I want you to have the tools of how to rearrange what you do in your workouts to make the most of that frequency, right? If you have 3 days, I'm going to give you the best plan for that 3 days. If it has to become 2 days for a week, you don't just drop off one of those sessions, because now you start missing body parts, you start missing the art that is a really cohesive plan. Instead, what I do with my clients and what I do with myself is I will adjust the total of what happens in that 2 days and make it fit all the check marks that we need. Here's an example. Let's say you are really consistent at 3 days a week of real, strength training workouts. Here's a possible plan that you might do. Maybe you have just a little bit of experience, maybe you're not a complete beginner, but you're, certainly not advanced. Maybe you're like beginner intermediate, you know how to train decently well. Most people I train start as complete beginners, so that's my wheelhouse, and I'm very comfortable with that. But sorry if I'm blocking the board. But let's say we have this. All right, I will explain. Notice day 1, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. No, I'm going to start over. Hold up. Okay, let's say Monday, day 1 is F for full body. Let's say Monday you're training full body. And what does that mean, right? Topic for the next piece. Don't worry about that yet. But essentially, everything gets trained. Full body is the focus on Monday. Let's say the Wednesday that I have prescribed for you is upper body, right? You are just focusing on upper body movements. And Friday, let's say lower body. Full, upper, lower. Let's say that's your split. In this hypothetical, you do it 1 week, 2 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks, 7 weeks. You're very consistent at it. But something comes up once in a while that you believe you are going to miss one of these sessions. And you're not going to be able to do it. You're going to have to do 2 sessions. Again, I'm not then going to say, okay, do full body, do upper body, and just skip the legs here. Yes, that's 2 sessions, but now we have a problem. If you are a pro, which that's my goal, is to make you a pro at this. Now you are missing a total leg session, so you're actually only training legs once a week in this full body, and then you have upper twice, right? You do some upper body on the full body day, and then a full upper body day. That's an imbalance. We don't want to train legs once, upper body twice. In strength training, the kind of gold standard that I like to go by is aiming to train all of the patterns twice a week. Sometimes it can be more. We generally don't want it to be less. It could be, but that's an into the weeds thing. Let's say 2 times, right? Just based on how the body adapts and recovers. 2 is a really good sweet spot for most people. Basically every person, okay? So if we know going into this week, I'm, starting a trip, I have something crazy going on, I just really think I can commit to 2 times, not 3 times. Here's what I would tell you. I'm gonna come over here. If you were my client, I would say, hey, John, your name's John, or Jane, your name's Jane. We're not gonna do full body, upper, and then scrap one of these. Instead, because you told me that you are only gonna be able to do 2 times this week, we, regardless of the days, but let's say it's Monday and Wednesday, right? I'm gonna have you do full body, and again, full body. Really basic. It looks so simple. It looks too simple. This is what works. This is what the pros do. This is how you adjust. Now, we're training all patterns. FF. Okay? So that is an example of when schedule changes. Let's move in the other extreme. This is maybe a little bit of a less likely case, but I actually have a client right now, Claudia, shout out, you're great, that this happened to. We normally plan 3 days a week of her lifting. On some other days she's very active. She'll walk, she'll do mobility, she'll practice, certain gymnastic skills that she likes to do. But the typical pattern that we started with was a shorter but still full body session here because she had a 30-minute time constraint on that day. Same thing on this day, Wednesday, full body. And then Friday in my town, I see her in person at her home for a longer full body session, right? A little bit heavier, a little bit more time. So we just do 3 full bodies. But what's been happening lately is she and I have been, we still meet once a week, but she's been able to do a 4th session, right? So sometimes it's like Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. This is literally her current schedule. That's why it's at the top of mind. So we don't keep this the same because now we have 4 days to work with. 4 days of full body is probably not the most ideal. It can be done, again, with certain asterisks, but let's do this. I have her do full body on Monday. Wednesday, I essentially make it like a cardio, a low-level cardio and kind of just skill practice day. So she'll do some core work, she'll do cardio, some mobility. Let's call this bonus, right? It's still very important, all of those things I just mentioned, but we won't count this as one of the main training days, harder training days. So that's a bonus. And then we have 2 more days to work with. So I might do upper, lower, or another option, but again, I won't get to that right now. So you see full body, bonus, cardio, mobility, etc. Upper, lower. Now we have the upper and the lower body both trained twice in this week, right? Once here for upper, again here for upper. Once here for lower, again here for lower, because that's full body. Twice, we're good. And we have some bonus work, benefits. You can scale this many ways. I'm gonna leave the video there for right now because I wanna keep this on one main point. So the takeaway for this video, once again, is that when looking at your week, right? This is something we all have true. It doesn't matter who you are on this planet. We have a Monday through a Sunday. We have exercise or no exercise. Let's aim for exercise. Let's aim for training. And when you think, okay, what should my split be? What should I do? This, right now, this video, I'm not giving you every single option of how to adjust all the little details. Of course, that is what I teach on the bigger picture. But this is the step one. This is when I sit down for myself and say, hey, Harris, what do I want to train? Hey, Jane, hey, Jim, hey, whoever my client is, here's what we're gonna do. I look at their 7 days and I look at what the most realistic structure is. Based on that, we pick either full body, upper, lower. There's another, option that I really like, but that's for another video that you could do instead to split. And those are really generally the main ways I split up training, either full body, upper, or lower, or something called an anterior day, posterior day, which feel free to ask me about. I will certainly film on that, in the future because I actually do that myself and I love that split. But I digress. We put those puzzle pieces into the right days for us, into the right spacing. And again, there are so many other contextual pieces here. Depending on what you're doing, we can talk about how far to split certain workouts for the best recovery. Obviously, what the actual sessions are made up of, which is the next big piece of that. But this video is just based on your 7-day block and knowing, okay, if you're going to train twice or 3 or 4, and if that has to change, what do you do? And the answer is you adjust the puzzle pieces. You flip from all full body to maybe upper and lower, or maybe you scale it back to full body. You don't just keep the same thing and start cutting off sessions, because then you start losing a lot of the physical qualities that we need to have a super healthy and awesome, strong body forever. That's my goal. Okay, I hope this was very useful for you. Questions, wherever you're watching this, just leave them to me and we'll talk about it. See you in the next video.